Cool. We used to get the three of us in the shot. Is there a way? Is there a way?
Yeah, if there's a will, apparently.
Yeah.
That's what they say anyway.
There's a will.
Hi, friends.
Yeah.
Bristol and Rico here with Rachel and curiously, this other person named Kyra.
Who just randomly walked into the vicinity and decided to claim the property as her own.
If you could scoot
Unknowingly.
a little bit. There we go. We're all in the same shot now.
Yeah.
So, doesn't this look like a new site on Target Festival? There's a different angle of camera.
Yeah.
There's 3 people instead of 2 or 1, depending on whether Rachel's sitting over there or not. And
You would normally be over there.
Sometimes, yeah.
and there's Kyra, who only all met prior, including Rachel and me, have also only all met prior to this via the chat. I've never heard her voice before, but you can ask her questions right now to determine whatever you want to know. Like, is she secretly in ENFP? That's probably what a lot of people think. I don't know. What do you think, Kyra? Do you know what type you are?
I do not know what type I am.
Do you have any theories about it?
Yeah. Just mostly talking in the chat. I do mostly assume ENTP, but a lot of people would rightfully assume that I am pretty introverted because I do spend I can go for really prolonged periods without really any type of contact because I can spend a lot of time just with music and looking up random things.
Mm-hmm.
But
How long have you played the piano for?
like 10 years or so. And I played guitar and piano for like same time or something. No, guitar a little bit longer.
How old were you when you started playing the guitar?
So it's sometimes hard to say is because it was kind of it wasn't an immediate type of pursuit thing. I spent the entirety of the time doing that.
Right.
But it was around 7. So.
7? That's young.
Wow, that is young.
So, but I don't know. I probably don't have much to show for it.
Did you have a gut string guitar or a steel string guitar or electric guitar?
I started with electric.
That's cool.
But
where did someone in the house have it or?
No, actually, no one in the house did. Well, my younger brother did want to learn guitar, but when my mom ended up getting the guitar, and then he
didn't like it.
He didn't like it.
Oh,
and then it was just there.
Sweet.
And then I just started playing it. So
nice.
But Janine L launches right into the go on Tesla TI.
Okay.
I've never seen that person in the chat.
I've seen him in the comments before. I haven't seen her in the chat before. She's left comments before.
Oh, she's left comments before?
Yeah, I recognize the name from comments.
So her would be like, long time commenter, first time chatter. Go test her on her TI. That is those tests are so.
Oh, you're JL. Okay, just a different name.
I don't even remember JL.
It's I've been around the chats, haven't left a comment. I've been around for 3 years.
Oh wow!
Not to imagine.
Oh my god, they are.
How long ago did you find out about Talking to Famous People?
I've known about Talking to Famous People for a year or so, but I never really knew that you did streams that often.
Yeah.
So it was only until very recently.
You might say I have a problem with streaming. I have a little bit of streaming addiction.
That's all right. I like coming. I like watch. I'm enabling these addictions. I'm hey,
yeah, why not? Yeah, right. Exactly.
I actually don't know. I think I have a problem with streaming. I think I have a wonderful relationship with streaming that sometimes maybe gets a little overindulgent. You know, I could.
Is this locked? No.
I could do more work. I mean, most effort I put into something is more productive than streaming, I think, if I was looking at outcomes. So what's your take on outcomes, Kyra? Do you have goals?
Yeah, I do have a lot of pretty strong goals, but not necessarily clear cut. So like with music, and there was like a period that I did think I was like an NI like Dom, because those people are normally associated with like clear cut goals and things like that. But like my goals are quite like my main just musical goal is just like to be an artist at the level of Mozart and Johann Sebastian Bach.
Okay.
And that's the only type of thing that I kind of have, and that kind of keeps me going.
So you want to compose?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I mean, you want to write stuff that's timeless.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think that like classical music is a good way to point out that shit that's worthwhile lasts the test of time, and stuff that's not so good doesn't last the test of time. Like there's a lot of classical composers from the same time as Mozart and Bach and Beethoven, but we don't hear about them.
No.
We don't hear their songs very often, and when you do hear them, you go, "Oh, this isn't as good."
Yeah. Well, sometimes I tend to think that I guess it would be wrong to assume that like any composer that we don't hear of isn't worthwhile of hearing. I think sometimes history is kind of unkind to some like artists.
I agree with you.
Who don't like.
I agree. There are no doubt gems in the classical music canon that are widely unknown, hidden gems out there of pieces that were composed a long time ago that are great. But in terms of composers you can reliably expect to produce stuff that stands up a little bit above the cut, I mean, not that many.
Oh yeah. There's definitely like a lot of luck and things that.
Who's your favorite composer?
J.S. Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach. He's like that love with him. That composer runs pretty deep. So.
Do you like playing his pieces on the piano most?
Right now I don't really play any composer's pieces. I normally just compose my own.
Just jam out.
I just compose my own and like just improvise a lot.
I've never been to your channel, so I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I just post my.
I just heard somebody else compliment you on your piano playing in the chat. I read somebody else compliment you on your piano playing. Yeah, so, did you used to play classical music?
Me?
Yeah.
I would say that I still do, and like the large majority of the things that I would play could be characterized as classical music. Although it's like a very broad term, like just saying something's classical, because you also have classical period, which is the period that Mozart and Haydn is from. But like classical genre of music encompasses a large.
Or I guess you'd call it composed with sheet music rather than chords and lyrics. That's like the main difference, right?
Huh?
Like,
well,
he's got all the notes written down in sheet music form rather than just like
that's pretty much
chords and lyrics. Because I don't think it's any like I never write a song. I've never, not since I was a kid anyway, have I written any song by writing notes on sheet music. Do you write down notes on sheet music?
Yeah, that's how I compose. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference, really. That's the difference between classical music and not classical music. Classical composition requires you to write down notes on bars, whereas pop songs doesn't require you to do that.
I mean, I guess you could do it with that, but yeah, I mean, in the most cases, like I only really heard of like the one like Radiohead, like one of the members is like pretty well versed with theory, and I think even then in their construction of songs it would just be like chords and the melody over it.
But they use sheet music.
Yeah, but it wouldn't actually be like the actual like notes of the chords. It would just say like, oh, A major or A major 7 chord.
Right.
It wouldn't necessarily indicate that the actual notes that are and the placing of the notes of the chord. Oh. So it would just be that. It would just show the chords and then the melody. So that's probably if you were to write down like pop music in that form, then a lot of it would probably be that.
Yeah, but
instead of like every note.
It's because guitar voicings don't really matter very much, or they can, but it's like on piano, there's different voicings as like C chord or something, depending on where you put your fingers, and depending on how the piano song goes, you got to go from like this voicing into something else. So you don't want to voice the C chord in a different way if you're trying to play both hands concurrently or something like that. So you it makes more sense to have the actual notes written out there for piano stuff, I think, than it does for guitar stuff. I mean, I know multiple voicings of like the chord C on the guitar, but I use them kind of interchangeably. What do you think, Kyra?
Yeah, I guess with piano, I mean, but it is kind of similar how you can just say like, you do just have like normal block chords on piano, which is kind of the same equivalent of like open chords or like the basic chords that you learn on guitar. So, but I don't know. I'm mainly just in favor of writing down all the notes because I think it gives the artist more like intentionality with their art and what they actually mean. But some of it is cool too to just have like just have the chords there and then have the performers kind of imbue their own personality into it. Is because if you just write like like a lot of with jazz music, like they say, am I into jazz? Yeah, I do like jazz, but I haven't really like dived too far into it as much as classical music. But
are you into like jazz, or are you into like snake jazz? Like
snake. I
never
heard of it.
That's
That's snake jazz.
Yeah, I never knew.
The only jazz that I really I mainly I like Bill Evans, like his piano playing, and also and I like is because I remember like a little while ago, I think, well, not a little while ago, like a year or something, I looked up what some would consider the best jazz albums, and then one of the jazz albums was like Charles Mingus, something with a snake. That album was like super conceptual. But I think that would be considered like avant-garde jazz.
He's a bass player.
Cool, though.
Yeah, he's a bass player, but he's like a composer. So he's like dictating all of the musicians. Like, oh, do this thing. I have an idea there. So
it is his.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with jazz. So like he can say just do this sort of thing, and then the performer would end up doing it a certain way. So they're like factoring into the whole creative process.
You know who actually did that too? The Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Pet Sounds. Yeah. They had professionals do certain parts for them because they knew that they wanted a sound. They weren't really they didn't care so much about playing. I mean, they didn't play really themselves that much, just piano, I think, mostly.
Yeah. I guess the other thing is, if you're doing a multi-instrument composition, right? Let's say you have a trumpet that just goes like boo, 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 boo. Like that's all it does in one section or whatever. It's probably faster to just teach it to them than have them have to read it unless they're good at reading music.
Yeah. But I guess like another way that's kind of like productive and fast, I guess, is if you just have the music written out.
Well, I mean, if everybody's good at reading music, I would not be. It'd be such a slow way for me to learn how to play something.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I love it. Can I show the camera it?
Yeah. Oh, this is my bag.
Here's bag.
You can't even really see, but it's like a uniform type thing. That's the camera?
Right there.
Oh.
There. This
That's
is
so cute.
an upside down ice cream cone. And these are rainbow eyelashes.
Oh
my
gosh. Right?
Kyra. Is your name Kyra or Kyra?
They're gonna see this and be like, "Oh, ENFP."
Right?
Are you?
Something.
No,
Are you gonna pronounce
no.
Kyra or Kyra?
Kyra. And no, I don't. I wouldn't say that that I'm a singer, but I have sung in like choirs and things like that.
You probably have.
I mean,
excellent taste.
one choir, but not really like many.
So
So
you just sort of took on playing music, even though nobody in your family played music.
well, interestingly, the only person who did was my great grandmother on my mom's side, and she played piano. So everyone just says that I got the desire to be a musician or whatever gifts or talents that they assume me to have or something.
Now, was there also a piano already there? Or did they acquire one for you?
No, we didn't really have one. But there was one at my grandma's house. But I didn't really get a chance to play on that one too much. And that one was like always out of tune.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I was just like, geez.
It's funny. It's not easy to do tune a piano. You have to
Yeah.
open it up.
Yeah, that's what you normally get people to do it for you.
Yep.
Unless you want to like get a wrench, just be like.
Oh, it's now you have apps actually for tuning stuff.
Oh yeah, but I don't think it was still.
Then no, you have to really.
It's still.
It's difficult.
It's still very physically taxing.
Yes.
To tune the piano.
Yeah, it is.
Very physically taxing. You will be like, after you're done tuning a piano, you'll probably be at peak physical condition.
Well, also I feel like you have to have a good ear for it.
Oh yeah, you do.
It's like a lot of TE in my opinion.
Well, you know what the combination of tuning a piano and Kyra's bag is? Tuna corn.
Oh.
That's right. Tuna corn.
It is a tuna corn.
It's half unicorn, half tuna, and half tuning a piano.
Half fiendish. I don't know, I just like saying random words like that.
So you want to answer some TI questions, Kyra, and see what type you are?
Sure.
How many bananas are in a dozen bananas?
12.
That's correct.
It's like 11.
All right, but how about this?
But
Kyra, listen. What about this? How many are in a baker's dozen?
I never heard baker's dozen before, but 12?
No, 13. Good guess, though.
Really? I don't know what a baker's dozen is.
It's 13.
It's like
It's like you get a dozen donuts, they'll toss in an extra one.
mm-hmm.
Oh, because they're nice. Bakers are nice.
There you go. We can somehow conclude to that. Yes, that is a nice thing to do. Yeah, it's good TI.
If an acre's dozen is 12, and a baker's dozen is 13, and a caker's dozen is 14, how many donuts is a faker's dozen?
Can you repeat that? I was just listening to the numbers.
If an acre's dozen is 12,
yeah,
and a baker's dozen is 13, and a caker's dozen is 14, how many is a faker's dozen?
I don't know, 15?
Rachel, do you know?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
If an acre's dozen is 12, and a baker's dozen is 13, and a faker's dozen, if an acre's dozen is 12, and a baker's dozen is 13, and a caker's dozen is 14, how many is a faker's dozen? Boom, 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 boom.
I was saying 11 too, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was trying to NE it. It is when you were saying all these words, I thought there was one of them that began with an F, and then I was trying to combine them to
Acre's dozen is 12, baker's dozen is 13, caker's dozen is 14, daker's dozen is 15, acre's dozen is 16, faker's dozen is 17. Jason and Infertile Piggy got it right.
Got it right. Yeah.
I was just changing the first letter.
Oh, I see.
A, B, C, you know.
Makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Yeah.
All right, let's ask another question. I've never asked that
Disgusting.
question before, of course, because it was prompted by the discussion of the dozens.
Mm.
If 6 vents is a dozen pole axes, and it takes 3 bobcats to make a pole axe, how many bobcats does it take to make a vent?
I kind of got lost at some point.
I did too. I couldn't remember what the thing I originally said. If there are 6 vents equals a dozen pole axes,
Mhm.
and there are 3 bobcats to a pole axe, how many how many vents are there in a bobcat?
36.
Hey, Sandy.
Let me see.
Hi, Jason
Equal a
Blood
dozen
and Infertile Piggy.
Pole axes. That means there's 2 pole axes to a vent, and if there are 3 bobcats to a pole axe, then there's 1.5 bobcats to a vent. Right? There's 6 bobcats in a vent? Okay. Okay, here's the question. I don't know what the answer is, but here was the question. There are 6 vents. If 6 vents equals 12 pole axes, and it's 3 bobcats to a pole axe, how many either vents in a bobcat or bobcats in a vent? Well, I have struggled with my own question. I have no idea what the answer is. I don't know if it has an answer, but that was the question.
Then if you don't know the answer, and I just say a random thing, you would.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good demonstration of TI there. She's pointing out the problem with my question. I guess not necessarily TI.
It just seems like it's trying to provide an overcomplicated question just to get the mind going or something.
Well, I mean, I'd hoped to arrive where I'd hoped to arrive by the time I had arrived there.
Right.
Instead,
yeah.
I hadn't. But that's just the chance one takes when one departs at any point.
Yeah, good point.
I will start simple, Janine L. Fine. Who is your mother? Assuming all parents are only marriages and all children are non-bastards, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Then who is your mother's husband in relation to you?
It's my grandfather.
Who is your paternal grandfather's wife's only son's wife's mother's only granddaughter?
My mom?
I think it's you.
Wait, I thought you said paternal and then wife.
Yeah, we brought it back to your mom and her mom's only daughter. Let's try another.
Okay.
Rick and Stephen are related to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen is Rick's mom's sister's husband's only son. What is his relation to Rick?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Stephen is Rick's mom's sister's husband's only son. What is his relation to Rick? Or Stephen?
I got lost again. I don't know what that says.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your mother's sister's husband's son in relation to you?
My cousin.
Right. What is your maternal grandmother's son-in-law's maternal grandmother's only son-in-law's father-in-law's daughter in relation to you.
Would it be my mom?
Yes. Okay, pretty good on the genealogy. Let me ask you some other kind of TI questions. If only skunks smell bad and my poop smells bad, can we conclude that my poop is a skunk?
So you said only skunks poop.
Only skunks
smells bad.
Only skunks smell bad.
Oh, okay.
My poop smells bad. Can we conclude that my poop is a skunk?
Yeah.
Okay. How about if no birds eat Cheese Whiz and I am not a bird, can we conclude that I eat Cheese Whiz? If no birds eat Cheese Whiz and I am not a bird, can we conclude that I eat Cheese Whiz?
Hold on. I would say no.
Correct. Complete the missing generalization. So I'll give you an example. Those paper towels can't be from France. They're not pink. All paper towels from France are pink.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Only wouldn't be accurate, I think, right?
you have to say
Mm.
only pink paper towels come from France. You could switch it around. So,
Right. So
or you could say no non-pink paper towels come from France. All right, you get the concept?
Yeah.
All right. Josie is not allowed in our club. She doesn't have a lovely hat.
Only people with lovely hats are allowed into the club.
Okay, can you do all?
All people who have lovely hats are allowed into the club.
Mm-mm. All people allowed in the club must have lovely hats.
Must, okay.
I mean, you say all people allowed in the club have lovely hats is fine, or only people with lovely hats are allowed in the club is the most natural way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
you got the most natural correct answer. You have to kind of force it with all and no. Let's try a couple more of these missing gens. That can't be a grizzly bear. It doesn't have a snout.
All grizzly bears have a snout.
Okay. What would you, if you try to change it to only, what would it be?
Only animals with a snout are grizzly bears.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. Your second or first slot. Your second slot. You're probably second slot. Yeah. You're definitely not SE Dong. That would make you ENTP. But you could, in theory, be INTP. I think. But you're probably not because you get lost like I do.
Yeah, I'm like always just like, it's sometimes hard for me to, I don't even know what it's called, if that is NE, like that like thing going on. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, I don't know if that's what it is, like a thing that's just constantly going on, and I'm like, it's like with the whole Baker question thing. I was like, I thought you had a word in there, and I thought you wanted me to combine two of them and then add them. Like I was like, what the heck?
So it's like NE.
Okay,
That's
so
like weird.
Look, Infertile Pig, let me
That's
clarify
nice.
with this grizzly question. The thing was, that can't be a grizzly bear. It doesn't have a snout. All grizzly bears have snouts would make that valid. Only snouted things are grizzly bears would also make it valid. And also, no grizzly bears don't have snouts, or no non-snouted things are grizzly bears would also make it valid.
Could it also be that perhaps I am particularly perhaps struggling with this because I spent a large majority of my time
You're not
doing
struggling
music?
with this.
Oh, well, I just read one of those, and then it seemed like Aaron was concluding that perhaps I was somewhat struggling with it, which would be okay, like I guess.
I mean,
Okay, yeah,
I
look.
think that you were doing pretty well.
All right, Aaron, let me correct myself. It's not necessarily first or second. It could be in 35th or 6th even. But
Yeah, like
what I'm saying is it's not 3rd or 4th, and it's not 7 or 8. So that's what I mean by it's not 3, 4, 7, or 8.
Yeah,
It's probably not ISTJ 6, and it's probably not ESTJ 5.
It's
But
not INFJ 3rd.
it's not INFJ 3. Could be. Well, it's not ISTP. She's not an INTJ. Is she? No, she's got to be. I don't know what else she could possibly be. She's got to be an ENP. You got to be. She's not struggling. She's just not super familiar with the forms. But like she's successfully figuring out the missing generalizations. A lot of people have a lot of trouble with that. For people who don't have trouble with it, they go, "Well, that's not hard, Eric." Shit tons of people find it impossible. Okay.
Yeah, the one part that was like severely difficult was the beginning part where you got lost too.
Well, yeah.
I was like, I never even seen this level of tier of TI.
I know. Well, yeah.
I mean,
Unless some of the stuff that Sky Gear sometimes posts as a joke, he's just like, "Who is your great grandmother?"
Oh my gosh.
Just like 20 steps or something. I'm like, gee.
all right. Let's try a couple more TI questions to sort of satisfy people's need for more certainty. Yes,
well,
Rachel?
what about NE questions?
Okay. Well, I mean, I do want to ask any questions, but I kind of want to resolve the TI issue first.
Yeah, because I want to say that it sounded like, well, what it looked like is that you're thinking very consciously about the words that he's saying. So like when you're analyzing in your head, like the TI questions, I see it in you and you're doing it well. Like not, this is so, I feel like the TI is strong in you.
All right. Let me ask you
Seems
this.
like people in the chat are assuming
They say whatever they want.
Yeah.
They always do.
That I'm a
But it's
a
okay.
guy or something.
If A or B, and if
Sorry, I was.
let me try again. I'm gonna give you 3 statements here, okay? I'm gonna give you 3 statements.
Okay.
First one is A or B. The second one is if C, then D, and not B. And the third one is C. I'll repeat it. A or B.
Mm-hmm.
If C, then D, and not B. C. What can we conclude? Or I can repeat it again.
So I have to choose between A, B, or C, or D. Is that what the?
I mean, you guys tell me what can be concluded.
Oh, okay.
A or B.
Uh-huh.
If C, then D, and not B. C. In other words, so you could think of it like this. I either have a tiger or I have a hawk. If I have a banana, then I have an elephant and I don't have a hawk.
Oh, okay.
And I have a banana. What can we conclude? Now I'm thinking too, Aaron, it's possible. Possible could be 8th slot. I don't know. We'll have to ask more questions. She's not ultra familiar with.
I don't know with that one. We can.
Okay. Let me try another angle on the TI point, which is so if Julie goes to the baseball game,
Yeah.
then Bob stays home. And if Bob stays home, then Stan will go to the baseball game. What can we conclude if we know that forgot the names of the people. I'll do it again. I'm gonna do Abe, Barry, and Carl. So we have ABC, okay?
Okay.
If Abe goes to the baseball game, then Barry will stay home. And if Barry stays home, then Carl will go to the baseball game. Well, what can we conclude if we know that Abe goes to the baseball game?
That C will go.
Okay, and what can we conclude if A does not go to the baseball game?
I think I missed one small bit.
If Abe goes to the baseball game, then Bob will stay home. If Bob stays home, then Carl will go to the baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
If we know that Abe does not go to the baseball game, what can we conclude?
I think I keep missing it, but that Bob will go to the baseball game? That doesn't sound right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. If we know that Carl stays home, what can we conclude about Abe?
That he stayed home.
Right. Okay. No, Janine, the answer to that last question is we can conclude, if we know that Carl stayed home, we can conclude that Abe stayed home. If we know that Abe stayed home, we cannot conclude that Carl stayed home or that Bob stayed home or went.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the consequence of the conditionals. All right, so I'm moving towards maybe 8. 8 thought, possibly. I'm not sure. Let's ask an any question. Have you ever heard the troll question before, Kyra?
I think I have heard of it, yeah.
Where you're the mayor of a town in the Middle Ages?
Yeah, it's something with food or something.
All right, then I won't ask that question since you've heard it before. Let me ask the volcano question. You are the mayor of a tropical island village full of natives, okay? And there is a volcano in the middle of your island, and it's starting to spew smoke and rumble in the ground and stuff. And the natives come to you and they say, you are both the mayor and the medicine man of our native peoples. Now, wise mayor medicine woman, can you please tell us what we need to do now regarding this volcano? But lead us in our path regarding this volcano. How do we need to either put this volcano out, or I don't know. You tell us, Mayor Chieftain.
I'm thinking of funny things. So I'm just trying to fully understand. So this is essentially the troll question, but just a volcano instead. That's about to seemingly about to erupt on your town.
It's the same concept of troll question that it's a story question, yes, but it's got very different mechanics to it because all the information you have is there's a volcano that's acting up on your native people's island.
Yeah.
And as the chieftain of the native peoples, they're looking to you for guidance.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess first we will assess the situation. Is how deadly would the eruption be? Would it be all over the town, like lava spewing all over it?
Hey, Chief.
If so,
Chief, that's what we're asking you. We don't know what's going to happen with this shit. That's why we come to you and say, you're the wise chieftain. You're the medicine woman. You claim to talk to spirits. Now you tell us, are we in danger? I don't know. That's why we're asking you.
well, I guess we can look around and just to see if there's any way that we can move all of the people away from the town, away from the.
Okay, so hold on a second there, Mayor. Are you saying that we're definitely going to move? We're gonna move our huts and stuff, or what?
No, we're just going to move our bodies.
I wonder if we can't appease the volcano god with a sacrifice. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I've looked around and there kind of doesn't seem to be some type of god controlling this volcano.
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, blasphemy! What
I'm
about,
the one in
what
charge.
about Volcano?
so you have to-
Volcano, the god of volcanoes. He's a volcano god. We've talked about this before. All of a sudden, disavowing the existence of volcano.
Well, I'm the mayor here, so I think the best course of action is for us to possibly take our valuables
Okay,
and
well, can you
go a
possibly
little bit
sell me
further.
on this notion? I know you're the mayor, but it doesn't mean you need autocratic commands. Could you justify, please, your decision? We're native peoples, not slaves.
Well, I mean, I am the mayor, and I can't necessarily force you to do what you want. So if you wanted to go stay and have sacrificial things,
But I want you to convince me your idea is good. Because right now, the vice mayor, Ukala over there, he's suggesting that all we need to do is throw about 25 of these bunches of bananas into the volcano, and that should make the volcano full, and then it'll stop burping and stuff. What do you think? I like his plan. That doesn't involve us moving all of our shit. It's a lot easier than your plan.
I mean, that sounds like
A good plan?
no. I mean, we can. We can try doing this. We can try gathering around materials around us and try to see if we can stuff them inside of the volcano.
Okay,
But
all
it is
right.
unlikely that would do anything, considering it is lava.
Okay, well, what if we put more than 25 bunches of bananas? What if we got like rocks and some sticks and some sand and stuff and just put all of that stuff up in there? What do you think? Can we plug it up maybe?
I mean, if it is lava, the sticks would just be an awful idea. Plus, I say if we have any type of heavy lifting machinery, we can probably put some boulders in there or something.
Yakalaka offered to do a rain dance.
Huh?
Yakalaka. He offered to do a rain dance. What about that? We could put it out with the rain maybe.
Wait, is that a person?
Yeah, you know Yakalaka. He's our rain dance guy.
I talked to that guy recently, and he didn't really have that many interesting. I mean, he didn't really seem that efficient at what he was doing.
Well, he just came up with a new move. It's like this. Makes the rain just.
Well, I mean, we could probably try stuffing him in there. I don't know.
You know, Mayor, you're taking a very firm stance on leadership here. I gotta say, I'm not feeling very inspired by your level of confidence in your own decision making.
Well, I'm actually very confident, but it seems like you don't want to take the approach and take all our valuables and go a little bit further.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if we can maybe figure out what made the god angry. Maybe we could quiet the volcano. It seems to me that you don't believe in the volcano god. So can you explain to me why that won't work?
It won't necessarily work because I'm like, I did speak with that god, and he said I engaged in too many acts of blasphemy. So
it's your fault? You're admitting that you did this with your blasphemous behavior?
yeah.
Okay. I know who's for dinner tonight. We're cannibals, don't forget.
Yeah, but I took all of the village weapons, and you guys can't get close to me. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. What do you have, like a Gatling gun back there or something?
Yeah, I'm kind of packing some serious heat back there. So I advise that if you don't want to end up condemned.
Okay, well, Kyra, I would say you have failed the first ever volcano test. I think the volcano test is going to be a test for people's instinct to like be decisive, and it's kind of an SE test. I think you're probably an INFP, Kyra.
No.
You had mentioned that.
Yeah, I kind of thought of it. Yeah.
You do have pretty good TI, but I do think you're introverted, and I do think that you're an INFP. Which means you're my supervisor type, which means, I could get busted at any moment. I'm going to have to be on my best behavior.
Busted at any moment.
Yeah, it means I have to respect your feelings.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
I have to like put myself in your shoes.
I kind of see that I'm not necessarily not too much not that sensitive.
Okay.
It's like people normally say things. I'm just like, eh.
So
And it's also like, I think it's kind of opposite of me that to be like vegan, and I did kind of go into it like thinking for animals, but now it's like for health reasons. And if people argue against like saying that you can't come up with any good argument, I would just be like, yeah, you're right. I necessarily cannot come up with a good argument advocating veganism and things like that. So,
but
I mean, I don't know.
there are good arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just aren't ultimately winning arguments. Most vegans can win the argument against most people. They just can't win it against me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can form an argument, but it's not necessarily as clear cut as advocating vegetarianism.
That's true.
So,
oh, that's true. Oh, okay. That
Good
distinction.
point. That is
That's
a
a
good
very
point.
good distinction
Yeah.
you made there.
Yeah, it is a good distinction.
Yeah, Swift Eagle, she does a little bit. INFPs does not always stand for things. And I don't think she thinks she's an INFP necessarily.
I mean, I don't know. Oh no, it said that they said that I intimidate Eric, and I'm like, really? How?
Well,
It's like causing sweat profusely. Like,
I don't know. Is there sweat feeding off?
No. I'm not really intimidated. I'm just saying that I think my basic feeling around Kyra is one of taking more care than I normally naturally take around people. That's just self-assessment. It's a little unreliable. But the thing is, so what do you think FI is, Kyra?
I've heard the word like authenticity thrown around, and I think that kind of rings true, but I don't. FI just seems to me to be a very kind of tricky one to describe.
What do you feel strongly about?
I mean, I feel strongly about music and my passion for it, and
what is the experience of playing music for you?
it's a highly logical and emotive experience at the same time, because the music I write, I think about it in a very logical way, and I tend to pick it apart on a very intense level. So I tend to write a lot of contrapuntal music, so music that is counterpoint. So if you were to fit that into a tonal framework, there are a lot of rules that you have to adhere to in order to maintain a degree of independence between all the different voices. So that's where the logical part of it comes into play. But I also know that good art can it isn't. There has to be a high degree also of honest and genuine emotion filled into it. So I always think that the best art is a combination of emotive and logical process in constructing music. So that's kind of how I think about music as a whole.
I would say that sounds like a TE kind of logic. When I make music, I certainly don't think about it a whole lot. Like I intuit about it a lot, but I don't know. I couldn't describe in theory terms what it is I'm doing at any point, really. Or it'd take me a long time to think about it and figure it out. I can ham fist my way through some theory stuff, or I could, in theory, write sheet music, but it would take me forever. You know, I have to go like A, B, C, D. Yeah.
I think he would rightly assume that is TE, but I think me being like classically trained, I think as a trained musician, you're automatically going to have a lot of TE into like what makes you as a musician. Because I think if you didn't have some type of strong TE tendencies with your music, then you wouldn't really grow anywhere.
That's not true.
Well, I'm talking about it. Well, I'm talking about any type of discipline. Meaning, there
are different ways to approach a discipline. There are different ways to approach it. Like we both have a certain logic to what we're doing, but the logic to what I'm doing is not really TI or TE. The thing is, the aspects of things that are logical in terms of TE for me would be how to more efficiently and effectively record something, for example. But the songwriting process is not TE for me at all. The composition process is not TE for me at all. I don't know. And when I add various harmonies and stuff, I don't know why they are what they are or something like that. They're just intuition. And because I don't write things down, I don't play it on the piano either. I don't typically know how to play the melody that I'm singing. It's just composed as a singing melody.
True.
Yeah, but how did you even discern that what I was saying is TE and not TI?
Well, because you're talking about compositional, basically algorithms, which is to say you're constructing, for example, there's a circle of fifths thing in classical music where, in other words, in classical music, you're not supposed to do bar chord, bar chord, bar chord.
Well, yeah.
All right, that's kind of a TE rule, right? If you're composing with those kind of algorithmic constraints, then it's like writing metered verse. It's got these artificial constraints in it that are helpful in liberating what you're doing, but that are utilitarian and not intuited from the specifics.
Okay. And it's not like I'm going into each piece with like a certain process, but I've been taught, and just from like experience, to always have some type of plan going into the piece of what you want to do, whatever combination of aesthetics or anything like that. So when I go into it, I'm thinking about those things, but it's pretty much like a slow down process of improvisation in a way. So there is a lot of just gut reaction type things going into the construction, but there's also so like the initial thing that I write down, that's kind of what I'm feeling, but then sometimes I'll take the piece of paper and look at it some more, like does that really work? Why doesn't it work? What am I going for? Or something like that. But usually sometimes it stems from coming from the piano, and I'm just kind of coming up with something, and then I'll probably write it down or something. Or if I have some type of idea that I want to go for this part or something.
Okay, so I'm not sure if what you're talking about compositionally represents TE or not. I do think that the way you're talking about it has a TE vibe to it, but that's not very decisive. Here's what I'm going to suggest to happen right now. We're coming up on an hour, and I want to stop this live stream because Rachel and I haven't eaten anything yet. I can round up something for you this vegan, I'm sure, if you haven't eaten enough yet.
I heard my name.
And then what I'd like to do is after we eat, I'd like to move this setup inside where the piano is, and do a little bit more streaming in there with the piano at our disposal. Because I know I'm interested in hearing her play, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well. And we can talk about music more meaningfully with a piano to demonstrate what you're talking about and stuff, you know?
Sure. Is that going to be streamed too? Or is it
Yes,
sure.
if you're cool with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay, so
I'm cool with being severely exposed.
all right, cool.
No.
So we are going to stop this just basically long enough to move it all inside. So we'll probably resume the stream in about 20 minutes or so. And I gotta maybe 30 because I need to make some food.
Wow,
I'm
you
starving.
like me?
I
I thought you were trying to like set hits out on me, Cloud. I thought you had several hitmen on post
I bet
trying to eliminate me.
Cloud was sitting
Cloud,
here on the couch.
he's
He'd
supposed
be nice. And
No, I think he means well.
He
of course.
does.
all right, so yeah,
I
we're
just
gonna
like making
reset up.
crazy jokes.
We're gonna reset up in about half an hour. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.